That intro could mean only one thing. It is once again Friday, and it is time for your weekly wellness check. This is Healthy by Association, and we have a big lineup for you today. We're going to be starting with our lead story, emotional wellness checklists that you can use on yourself, on your family, on your friends and colleagues. Angela will be talking about a home workout equipment upgrade, a major splurge in her household. Jim will be bringing us a topic on wellness kits for employees, and our special guest today is Rachel Whitten, and she'll be talking about treats versus cheats. Language does indeed matter, and we'll find out why. All of that and more on today's show. Let's get started.
Welcome to your Healthy by Association Weekly Wellness Check with Aaron Wolowick, Angela Pelk, and Jim Thompson.
Welcome to Healthy by Association, everyone. My name is Aaron Wolowick. It is Friday, June 25th, and believe it or not, it's the last Friday of June. We're excited to have you with us. Please check in on Facebook or whenever you happen to watch this recording. Again, we have a full show for you today. I want to turn first and foremost to our special guest, Rachel Whitten. Welcome to the show, Rachel. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. Yes, I am Rachel Whitten. I work for Visit Greenville, North Carolina. So I'm the Director of Sales and Services there. So I get to work with a lot of associations, a lot of really awesome people, and liaise between all the wonderful things that our city has to offer and the folks who choose to have their events and gatherings here.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you. I mentioned in our pre-show meeting that I just love your space. If you're talking about sort of emotional health and wellness and sort of feeling great in your space, certainly bright colors are one way to do that. We'll come back to you in just a little bit to get your sort of weekly wellness check-in. But before we do that, and before I get to the rest of the panel, I just am curious for you to say a few words, Rachel, about your connection to health and wellness and why you were excited to come on the show today.
Sure, absolutely. So as an adult, which again, in denial that I am an adult most of the time. Health and wellness is root for everything in the rest of your life. Growing up through times where you didn't necessarily always know that correlation, I really embrace it now and love the Facebook and stuff that this group does. Kind of helps keep me motivated and keep that in the front of my mind. And that's kind of what it is for me, is making sure that is what is root and grounded for me to make the rest of my life kind of flourish, is through the health and wellness aspect of things.
Awesome. I love that. Thanks so much. Jim, it is yet another week. And as we do every week, I'm going to come to you to share a little bit about where you're checking in on that scale from 1 to 10 this week on your health and wellness journey, and maybe a little bit more about why.
Sure. I don't know. This week has been kind of a struggle for me. I would probably say I'm in that 6 range. My family went on my wife and 2 kids went on a mission trip. Left on Sunday and are coming back on Saturday. And for about the first 2 or 3 days, it was nice to have nobody in the house. It was nice to be all no responsibilities. But now day 6. I'm ready for him to get back. I mean, I find myself spooning with the dog now, and I'm like, okay, this is not good. I'm like, I need some people. I need somebody in the house, please. It's been kind of a weird week this week. So ready for them to come back tomorrow.
Well, and I think certainly, I think you were one of the very first people early on in the pandemic last year to sort of post on Facebook like, I'm an extrovert, send help. And certainly knowing that about yourself and just knowing about, how you spend a lot of your time recharging is important. We'll get into that a little bit more here shortly. But Angela, I'll turn to you next for your weekly wellness check-in.
I've kind of been all over the place this week. I did a little bit of meal prep, but it's all still sitting in the refrigerator. So that's cool. exercise has been pretty well on point. Everything I've set out to do, I've done. Like I missed a walk because of weather, I think it was Monday morning. It might have been raining. It's raining today, so like I'm still doing my workouts indoors at home as usual. Mentally, I'm not in a great place. Jim, it's funny you mentioned your family has gone on away without you. My husband and son went away to Cedar Point. If you know Cedar Point in Ohio is an amusement park, roller coasters, and they went overnight. And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, so I was a little lonely by Monday, but I did schedule myself a massage. So that was some self-care that I haven't done recently, which was really kind of nice. So I don't know if I had to give it a number, I'm probably around a 6 also. Just not, I don't know. Things are happening, but I'm not feeling great about any of it. It's just kind of like happening. So
You all are so sweet in saying that you need and want all of these people in your life and around you. I'm just like, can I get 5 or 6 days of a little downtime by myself? Like that is, I feel like one of the ways I could rest and recharge. I don't know, but I'm just gonna say I'm gonna check in this week. I don't know. I'm gonna be brazen and say I'm like 9.5 or something ridiculously high.
Nice.
2 reasons. I told you last week I'd hit this sort of plateau that I wasn't seeing a lot of movement. And I have had, it's always nice when you've hit that plateau to see a little bit of movement on the scale or whatever it is you're using to track measurements or some of that. And so I'm excited about that. And second of all, I've been, I don't know, friends, we are getting back into busy time in association land, and I've had a couple of later night work days this week, but I have not let that be an excuse for working out or eating a meal on the fly. Have stuck to kind of our meal plan as well as our workout routine. I didn't get home from that walk last night until after 9 o'clock, but I did it. I checked it off the list. And you know what? Somebody in the neighborhood stopped me and Trevor this week and said, hey, is it weird to say hi? My wife and I see you walking all the time at 6 a.m, in the afternoon, and we've deemed you both the boys. And so when we see you, we say the boys are walking. Why aren't we doing something to work out for ourselves? And it's like, well, you never know how you're like inspiring someone else, like
Absolutely.
in the neighborhood and your immediate surroundings. So
That's cool.
So I don't know.
Boys.
It all sort of adds up. Rachel, how about you? Where would you rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 this week, and why?
I would say 8.5. I have been doing my workouts on a regular, which always makes me feel better. I had a lot of social things last weekend. I too am an extrovert, but require introvert time to recharge for that. I had a lot of social things last weekend. So it was great to get that interaction. My parents actually came and spent the night Monday. So because of that, my house is straight, which helps.
Yeah.
Me to feel better as well. And I organized the garage for some projects I have going on out there. So my space is straight. My workout energy level is good. It can't be the perfect 10 because I have had a little bit of that meal prep in the fridge. Should have been eaten, but still in the fridge. Enjoyed some other things. But
I'm not alone.
Overall doing really well.
That's so funny. I love your glass there. Angela, however, I thought maybe it was a wine glass, and maybe we were starting wine Wednesday, wine weekend.
Wine down Friday at lunch. Cheers.
Wine down Friday.
It's water. It's
wine,
got sparkles.
Wine not.
It has sparkles.
Wine
Yeah.
not.
All right, friends, lead story today, emotional wellness checklist. As always, I'll post it in the chat a little bit later today, but I wanted to just share with our panel these sort of 6 ideas about emotional wellness. I'll share maybe just 1 or 2 tips in each of these areas and just ask you kind of what stands out to you, what sort of rates high on your list this week as you think about your own emotional wellness. The first on the list here was if you want to brighten your outlook, if that's something that you're trying to do in your life or in the life of employees, friends, family, colleagues. Number 1, remember some good deeds that maybe you've done recently or that others have done for you, or take time to forgive yourself. And of course, there are others here, but I love this kind of reminder about brightening your outlook. Number 2 was to reduce stress. To help manage your stress, maybe get enough sleep, exercise regularly, or build a social support network. I actually reached out to a colleague this week and just checked in on her, and she said that she's still sort of overcoming the loss of her father, and it's really taking an emotional toll. And I think reminding ourselves that we need other people sometimes to overcome some of these challenges in our life is important. Number 3 is just to get quality sleep, and to get better sleep, go to bed and get up each day at the same time, sleep in a dark, quiet space, exercise, limit the use of electronics, and some of the other things we've talked about in the past. Number 4 on this list was just to be mindful, and ways to be more mindful is to take some deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth, enjoy a stroll, notice the sights around you, practice mindful eating, and certainly other things as well. Coping with loss, I mentioned loss already, but to help cope with loss, and not just loss through losing a loved one, a family member, a friend, but also the loss of other things in our life, the loss of relationships, the loss of time to ourselves, or time with others. And really just some strategies to help cope with loss here are to take care of yourself, talk to a caring friend, try not to make any major changes right away. And last but not least, just strengthening these social connections and to build healthy support systems, to build strong relationships with your kids, to get active and share good habits with family and friends, and if you're a family caregiver, to ask for help from others when you need it. And so, all of these things sort of point to our emotional wellness. And as we think about health and wellness as a broad topic, as an umbrella, there are so many individual topics and categories that fall underneath it. And certainly emotional wellness is one of them. So maybe, Angela, I'll turn to you first. As you kind of heard some of these things pulled out, maybe what resonated most with you in this moment?
Well, if you've heard me talk ever on HBA, I talk a lot about sleep. And for me, sleep is something that has not been great this week. I don't know what it is, if it's, this impending weather business that we're having here in Michigan with this, I don't know, humidity and rain. But I have probably 3 times this week, I've woken up at like 3 a.m. and been like, ding, and it sets the rest of your day off. It's almost like you don't even have a chance to have, to have your brains right for the next day because you're lacking sleep from the night before. And on me, it's not a good look. I don't do well with lack of sleep. And so a lot of the nights this week by like 8 o'clock, I'm like, I'm done. And my son's got friends calling, like, come meet me for a bike ride, meet me at the school, meet me at the playground, whatever. And I'm just like, I'm out. I can't, sorry, not today. So really, it's even affecting his, his bike ride time or whatever. So sleep is huge for me. I finally actually got a decent night's sleep last night. So that has helped a lot, but I don't know what's happening during the day. That's, I don't know why I'm waking up like this in the middle of the night. It's not caffeine. I don't over caffeinate. I've hardly even had coffee this week. So I don't know what's up with that, but I think sleep is somewhere that I think we could all look to. And even in the weekly wellness check, I think I should have maybe downgraded myself even more for having this sleep issue this week. But that's where I guess I'm at in this article, sleep for sure.
Angela, I have, I was very quick in the past, maybe in the last year or more, to put an earbud in when I would wake up and listen to music or listen to a TV show to put myself back to sleep. And I really recognized for myself that was creating really unhealthy habits for me, and affecting my sleep. And so I really have stopped doing that. And for me personally, that has escalated my sleep so much. And so I'm grateful for having broken that habit, certainly one that I had had for a long time. Jim, I'll turn to you next. What sort of sticks out to you from this emotional wellness check?
Sure. Gosh, there's several. I think one of the things, and it sort of hit me really hard, I think when I was reading this, is the whole thing about coping with loss. If many of you may know, my father passed away this past February, and while sometimes I think I've moved, I'm healing, there's other times when I'm not, and I realize that with different things. So I think, it's just one of those things to know that it's okay. It was kind of refreshing to see that that it's okay that you're still grieving and still having that issue, even though it may have been some time. And I know Father's Day this past weekend was pretty tough.
Yeah.
But I definitely go with that, and I think the stress, the reducing the stress piece. I mean, that kind of takes into account a lot of the different things about just trying to stay positive. Trying to exercise regularly. The sleep thing has obviously still been an issue with me, so it's still trying to work through that. But there's some great things in here. There really are.
Yeah.
Rachel, I'll turn to you so you can get in on the action. What sort of stood out and connected most to you?
So that rest thing is real for me, and it's not just sleep rest, but just stop the planning, stop the trying to find things to do, and just always be busy. Rest and be able to just kind of sit and be still is something that I have learned that I need to make sure that I make time for in order to be kind of like balanced and all over wellness. And also just to nod to that brighter outlook. This was something that I discovered during the first quarantine wave of trying not to lose my mind, was to find things to look forward to, like big things, little things, whatever, but have something in your mind that you're looking forward to just kind of keep your spirit going for that and looking for the positive things. And if you can't think of anything, that's create something, whether it's just snuggling with the dog or fresh cut grass or making a fresh smoothie, any kind of little thing that you can just look forward to doing, I think helps overall as well.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing. Angela, as we turn to you and a new topic, I want to play the sort of song in the background, Upgrade You. I hear there's home workout equipment upgrade, and we'd love to hear more about it.
Well, I thought it would also be, kind of like what's your favorite splurge at your home workout space. But I've been, I work out at home. I have this room that I'm actually in right now, and I've, added lots of weights, and I've got this, track for this new Beachbody thing that I'm doing. I've got a TV, I've got it's just a nice little workout space. And, I sometimes wear shoes and sometimes don't. It's a wood floor. I have a yoga mat. And I'm like, gosh, I really like a bigger floor mat. And I've been eyeballing these things, and it was Amazon Prime week this week. And so I found a good deal on, it's a little more than 4 feet and a little more than 6 feet, but like a nice, big, giant, new, squishy yoga mat. And that's my recent splurge for my home workout space. I'm so excited I got to work out with it today. It actually made me look forward to working out. I really didn't want to. I'm like, oh, my new mat's up there. So I was actually really excited. I had done my walk, and I was just like, it was humid and gross. And I'm just like, I don't wanna. But I did, because I knew that just not wanting to isn't good enough. So it was actually really great on this new squishy yoga mat I have. Maybe this weekend I'll post a picture in the HBA Facebook group and say, hey, what's your most recent workout room splurge?
I love that. It's always great, I think, to have a new piece of equipment or just something to make your workout easier or more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like a new fun playlist. Just anything to sort of break the old routine, I think sometimes can be helpful. Sure. I think my most recent splurge has been upgraded shoes. I think that you all know that we walk, and actually this week Trevor had to stick back for an early meeting, and so I actually ran some as well. And it is, when you're doing 8.5 at least miles a day, walking, running, or whatever, you don't realize how fast you go through those shoes.
Yeah.
And so just, I have the brand that I like, the sub brand that I like I have it figured out. And so legit, I just kind of watch the website, and when they come up on sale or a good deal or whatever, I just make sure I stock up on a couple, because you could be going through them every 6 months, depending upon how much you are walking or running or whatever. And it's important really for your feet, for your ankles, for your legs, and for your whole body alignment to have just really fresh shoes on an ongoing basis. So that, I think, was one of mine. And I always buy them 2 at a time. I can never buy one for whatever reason. I always have to buy 2. And so eventually they get sort of stockpiled. Jim, I want to turn to you. You sort of shared with us your topic for this week about these wellness kits for employees, and we would love to hear more about that as well.
Yeah, so it was kind of interesting. Several of the associations that we work with, when they've done conferences, they're doing these sort of conference in a boxes. So they're like giving out the swag kit to people maybe who couldn't attend. Obviously, we're all virtual, but it sort of hit me, and I started looking into, could you do the same thing with employees, like your employees, in terms of some sort of wellness kit? Especially those employees that maybe are still virtual. I just think it'd be a good idea for people to remember, your employees who are still working remotely, to do something, whether it's, some relaxing teas, some, bath oils, some, bath salts or whatever, lavender, any kind of, put together some sort of kits, or even, put together like a little survey of your employees and find out what are some of the things that they're interested in, so you can kind of make these sort of customized sort of wellness kits. Again, I think it's just something that we can do to focus on not just the physical wellness of our employees, but also the mental wellness of our employees as well. So giving them some things like that might be really helpful. So, and I think that can be translated to when people come back to work too, and come back in the office. Are there things that you can do for your employees that they can use at their desks, or that they can use when they get home? So I think just being mindful of that. And I'm just curious if anybody else has heard of anything like that or seen other organizations doing stuff like that.
Rachel and Angela, I'm going to come to you in just a second. I want you to be thinking about, if you got an employee wellness kit from your employer, what is one thing that you would hope to see in that wellness kit? As I was thinking about what you were saying, Jim, the thing that jumped to my mind is I always love to burn a good candle at home, or I love to diffuse some oils. I have a diffuser both here at this office as well as in my home office. I just really respond well to sort of scent operating in the background. It's maybe something you don't realize or recognize, but for me, it sort of breaks the stigma of just like, oh, I'm at work. But it's sort of, you can make it sort of feel spa-like in the background. Maybe you don't notice it all the moments throughout the day, but every time I sort of stop and use the restroom or refill my water, like I do see it, I do smell it, and it does sort of lift my day. Mm-hmm. Rachel, what sort of sticks out to you as something you would love to see in an employee wellness kit?
So I like that too, and maybe like call it a break in a box to encourage people to stop, and take a break in the middle of your workday, and what's kind of a 15-minute little list of things they can do, and here's the things to support it. So I like the tea idea, remind people to hydrate, water bottle maybe, and then the scent thing is really good too, making sure to get like actual essential oil and not like a fragrance.
Yeah.
That can kind of cause headaches and that kind of stuff for folks. But and then maybe just a couple little fun facts in there of things that people can do on their own when they take a break to stress relieve, like your own pressure points or chair, yoga type of workout they can take themselves through, just to take some deep breathing exercises. Like a guided break in a box with some support materials, I think would be awesome.
I was thinking of some also like coupon or flag that you would say you sort of redeem for like a walk, like like the person of your choice. You just like go to their office and say, okay, like we're gonna go take a walk right now or whatever, and just I like the idea of like trying to make it social as well, and just say we're gonna get out of the office for 5 minutes and just kind of break up the day, and that might be fun too. Angela, as you were thinking about this, what else might you add to this box?
Well, the first thing I thought of was like a massage gift card or something like that. Or I know they're pricey, but like the little elliptical machine for under your desk, just to kind of keep you moving. Or even like a headset so that you can be hands-free, whether you're working in the office, or you can even just pace it at your desk if it's a wired, headset while you're taking calls. Like, just stuff that sort of encourages a little bit of self-care and a little bit of movement maybe.
Angela was trying to tie in her previous topic around splurging into the employee wellness kit.
They're pricey, those little pedal thingies for under your desk.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I was
Pricey.
also thinking about like maybe like a back support as well for your chair in the office, or even just like
Yep,
a
yep.
lift to your desk as
Yeah.
well so you can stand. I think that's a great option. Or even like you were talking about a floor mat earlier, and just if you're going to be spending a lot of time standing at your desk in the
Yeah.
office, like what would it look like to have one of those squishy floor
Hmm.
mats? All right,
Hmm.
Mhm.
Rachel. Last but not least, you had a really curious and interesting and a topic that I think will resonate with a lot of our viewers. This idea of treats versus cheats, and just how important language is when we talk about food and beverage, and how we incorporate it into our lifestyle. And so I'd love for you to share more about your thoughts on this.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you very much for having me and having me speak on a topic. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the language that you use with yourself being super important just as much as it is when you talk with other folks. And that one term that specifically I have worked on changing in my vocabulary that's helpful, that I wanted to share. I, like a lot of folks, have struggled in my relationship with food, and creating healthy habits as an adult, which again, I'm in denial. I have done every diet in the book, from the keto to the Atkins, the cabbage soup diet, extreme calorie deficit, medicines, and all that kind of stuff. And some of them made me feel really great. Some didn't feel as good. Some worked really well. Some didn't seem to work that well. But the one thing that was kind of consistent through all of them was, at some point I cheated, right? And
Mhm.
so at some point it seemed to come across where I just had to have this or that, or I had sacrificed not having it for so long I just couldn't anymore. And it always seemed really hard after that cheating to get back into a groove and back into the commitments that I had kind of made to myself. And part of it was battling that feeling of failure. Like I've cheated, I've failed. There's a lot
Hmm.
of negativity and shame that kind of clouds around when
Mhm.
you frame it that way. Um, and so these days, like I don't really do crazy diets, or anything that's fad related or super restrictive, because I've just found that it's not the way that works for me to live, and it doesn't facilitate good mental health for me. So I recently joined Noom, and what I like about it is it talks more about the psychological
Mhm.
side of relationships with food, and kind of what happens internally in your body, your biochemistry, and that kind of stuff. And it uses terms like behavior chains and eating styles, and you learn about how your hormones react if you do experience weight loss, if that's your goal or whatever, and kind of what changes goes on there. And it's been really helpful to retraining my brain, in general. And that one key term that I've started using that changed when I do have those meals, that I enjoy, that I indulge in. Maybe you're at a conference and they have a really crazy awesome food station, or I'm at mom's house and her dad have cooked something super awesome. I really have changed it from being a cheat situation to a treat situation. So it frames it as, this isn't something I'm going to do all the time, but I can allow myself to enjoy this, and really kind of indulge in it. And it doesn't come with a cloud of negativity. And it allows me to bounce back into my normal, healthy eating of things that really fuel my body, a lot easier, when it's not like I've caused myself to mentally feel like I've failed. Um,
Mhm.
my friends
Yeah, I love
joke
that.
my friends joke on me because I'll when they say it, like they're having a cheat, I'm like, treat, and it's more
Yeah.
like knee jerk for me trying to train myself. But they all end up saying, yes, this is a treat for me.
Yeah.
This is. I don't want to use that same language. So hopefully,
Yeah,
I wanted
I
to
love
share that
that.
today for anyone that may be listening, that kind of has that same behavior chain mindset, that you can do that, and you don't have to carry around unnecessary guilt or shame from enjoying food, and your
Yeah.
food
Yeah,
choices. But I think that negativity can have a negative reaction on your health,
For sure.
more so than the
yeah.
the pizza with your friends.
Well,
So
Rachel, we
true.
certainly appreciate you contributing to the panel today, and of course for sharing those insights as well. I think they're important words for people to hear. If they want to connect with you in the Healthy by Association community, look up Rachel Whitten. She'll be happy to chat with you more about this. Jim and Angela, as always, it's been a pleasure. Just want to remind folks that Next week, July 2nd, we are off for the holiday weekend, but we'll be back on the airwaves July 9th with Amy Brooke, who will be talking about the HBA Accountability Program, answering your questions about that. In the meantime, we hope you have the very best 4th of July holiday weekend. And until next time, please remember to power your life with health, wellness, and intention. Have a great weekend, everyone.